Welcome back. The New York Post has published several nude photos of Melania Trump. The photos were reportedly taken in 1995, 10 years before she married Donald Trump, and appeared in a now-defunct French men's magazine. According to an article in the Post, Donald Trump said, quote, "In Europe, pictures like this are very fashionable and common." Here to discuss all of this is Kate Anderson-Brower, the author of First Women, Alice Stewart, the former communications director for Ted Cruz, and attorney Gloria Allred. Thanks for coming on. Alice, I'd like to start with you. What do you make of these photos being run by the New York Post, a newspaper that endorses Donald Trump as their candidate?
Well, clearly, look, this is an attempt for them to sell magazines. I mean, you put a picture like that on the cover, and certainly folks will pick it up and buy it. It's pure and simple what this is. And look, clearly Melania is a beautiful woman. She's a model. These were pictures that were taken 26 years ago. And what this has to do with the presidential election, I have no earthly idea, and I don't think it will have any bearing moving forward on
that's my next question. He's been in the race for over a year. I mean, why now? And how do you think they got these photos?
Well, I'm sure there's probably a lot of photographs out there. Look, she's a very successful model. She looks beautiful in the pictures, but I think this is not going to have any impact on the race. And look, to be honest, if they did this as an attempt to try and sway the presidential race, look, it's fair game then to go back 26 years and take some pictures of Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers just down the street here in Little Rock, what they were doing at that time. I'm sure those are a lot more scandalous than these photographs.
I don't think that, maybe there are some pictures out there, but I mean, you know, that's kind of apples and oranges. But Kate, I want you to give us some context here. You've written extensively about first ladies from a historical perspective. Have you ever had a first lady who had been photographed nude and published on the front of a magazine? And how big a deal is this?
I'm surprised it's not a bigger story, actually. I think that goes to show there's so much more swirling around right now with other things in the campaign. No, I mean, when Jackie Kennedy had her, nude photos were taken of her in Greece in the early 70s, and that was a big deal. And they were surreptitiously taken. She had no idea. And that was a huge story, and she was very upset by it. But, I mean, typically we expect the first ladies to have a certain to not have posed nude before. It's certainly a new era to have a first lady who's been a successful supermodel, and that's absolutely right. She had a very successful career, but this is the kind of image that we don't normally see. The first lady's a wife, a mother, and it's sort of the embodiment of American womanhood. That's she's put up on a pedestal in American politics.
Well, I would say she's a model. She's not a supermodel. I mean, you know, people had never heard of her until she married Donald Trump. She's successful, but she wasn't a supermodel. What is your reaction to these photos, Gloria Allred?
Don, I think it's a factor that people can consider when they decide if Donald Trump and his wife Melania are the people that they want in the White House as the first couple. Obviously, Melania is not Jackie Kennedy, who, by the way, as has been pointed out, the naked photos of Jackie Kennedy were taken after she was no longer in the White House, not during the time they were running or before they were running for the presidency. So if people want a Jackie Kennedy, if they want a Nancy Reagan, if they want a Laura Bush or a Barbara Bush or a Michelle Obama, Melania is not the person. These photos have been described as racy. Some people might describe them as soft porn. You asked, how did they get them? It wouldn't even surprise me, although I don't have any knowledge of it, if Donald Trump himself gave these photos. He's proud of his wife.
Yeah,
he's using them to market his campaign.
Listen, I think listen, she can use her body the way she wants. Most people have nothing against nudity, but again, I think your question is, how do you assess this with other first ladies in the country? She's going to be the first lady. I don't think anyone wants to shame her. Yeah, she was a successful model. There's some nude photographs out there, but again, to what you said about the timing here, do you think these photographs, Gloria, are going to distract from, you know, the Trump campaign or the Khan family controversy?
And if they are going to distract, is that exactly what Donald Trump would like? Because he's on the losing end of the Khan controversy with the Gold Star parents. But in addition, I mean, I think an even more important issue than these naked photos, what is being called the girl-on-girl photos of Melania, is the plagiarism, and is the fact that when she gave her speech afterwards, she said, or before, she said she had written it with a little help from a friend, when it turned out that in fact there was plagiarism that had taken place in her speech. To me, that's an even more important issue than the naked, possibly soft porn photos of her.
Hey, Alice, can I just get a really quick response? Because I do have to get to a break, or they're gonna kill me in the control room. I think the issue here is, again, it's not Melania taking nude pictures. Again, a woman can do with her body what she wants. She wants to take nude pictures. That's her business. But Republicans are usually the party of family value. And one can imagine if there was a Democratic, woman or someone, think if that was, if that was the current First Lady on the cover, don't you think all hell would break loose?
Well, certainly if it was the current First Lady, absolutely it would be. I believe that Republicans are generally in a situation like this held to a little higher standard given the social conservative values that many of them share. But I mean, keeping in mind she voluntarily gave these photos, and certainly I agree with Gloria to a degree. There's a slight chance Donald Trump may have put them out himself, because I'm sure he would certainly rather be talking about this than the con story, because that has not been a very good story for him.
I got to go, but we're going to come back with you, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump says nobody would be a better president for women than he would. But wait until you hear what he has to say about sexual harassment. Donald Trump was asked his thoughts on sexual harassment today, and his answer, well, you've got to hear it to believe it. Back with me now, Kate Anderson-Brower, Alice Stewart, and Gloria Allred. So, Alice, speaking about Fox News CEO Roger Ailes resigning over sexual harassment allegations, Trump told a USA Today columnist, Kristen Power, who's often on Fox, by the way, that his own daughter, Ivanka, if she was sexually harassed, that he would like to think that she would find another career or find another company that, if that was the case. What's your take on that? Alice?
I would like to actually ask Donald Trump, has he ever been accused of sexually harassing anyone? And if so, what happened after he was accused of that? Did he enter into any kind of settlement?
Alice, you want to respond to that?
Well, I think that's, the whole Roger Ailes story is certainly an unfortunate situation that's going on over there. But I beg to differ if that was a situation with Donald Trump's daughter, if that would be his recommendation. It's something that no one likes to think about, but I seriously doubt that would be his recommendation if that were to happen.
Why would he say it then?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what goes on in Donald Trump's mind, but I think he'd certainly have a lot more harsh action than that response.
Gloria,
Don.
Go ahead, Gloria.
Don, if a woman is sexually harassed, that's a denial of her right to equal employment opportunity. And no, she doesn't need to go and find another job. She has a right to have that job without having to run the gauntlet of being sexually harassed on the job. That's a violation of her rights. Maybe it's the perpetrator of sexual harassment who should go and find another job, not the victim of sexual harassment.
Before the USA Today interview, Trump had come to Ailes' defense. Speaking to Chuck Todd on NBC last month, he said this.
And I can tell you that some of the women that are complaining, I know how much he's helped them, and even recently, and when they write books that are fairly recently released, and they say wonderful things about him, and now all of a sudden they're saying these horrible things about him.
As a lawyer on the panel, you've dealt with sexual harassment. Gloria, what do you read in both of these statements?
Well, I deal with sexual harassment every day, and what happens is a lot of women, they have a career, they've worked hard to achieve in their career, and they don't want to lose their job. So they'll try to finesse the situation, Don, where they'll say nice things, thank you for helping me and all of that. But meanwhile, they're having to each day try to say no, but in a way that doesn't alienate the employer, because once they are sexually harassed, essentially, they're placed in a no-win situation. If they say yes, ultimately, the boss may get tired of them, then they lose their job. If they say no, then the boss may go into ego shock, and then they lose their job. That's what's so unfair about sexual harassment. But I'm glad that women are doing something about sexual harassment. They know they have rights, they're going to lawyers, and they are seeking to assert their rights. But just having to go somewhere else and lose their job after they work so hard for it? No, that's not what they have to do.
Kate, it is quite often that a candidate's wife or daughter are supposed to help the candidate appear more human, give people an insight into their personality and their family, as was done 2 weeks ago at the convention, at both conventions, last week and the week before. Do you think Melania and Ivanka fulfill that role for Donald Trump?
I think Ivanka certainly did, and Chelsea certainly did for her mother. I think Melania, you know, the plagiarism story really overshadowed the better parts of her speech. So I'm not sure that she helped so much. But Ivanka can really step into that role that a first lady traditionally plays, and I think we're seeing that playing out in the Trump campaign. Ivanka's really stepping up more than Chelsea even. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, that everyone talks about what great kids Donald Trump has, and Ivanka seems to be a great kid, I might add. But where are the mothers? Why doesn't anyone give credit to the mothers in all this? I mean, he was divorced, so some of these mothers were essentially single parents. Yes, at some point, different points he was involved in their lives, but let's give credit to the mothers as well, if these kids turned out to be great kids.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
My name is Gary Johnson. Today I reach out to you, members of all political parties. I reach out to everyone with a vote and an axe to grind. From the Tea Party, the Constitution Party, the Green and Libertarian parties. I call out to all of you, including the disaffected and disillusioned among the Republicans and Democrats. Today there's a handful of people in Washington ruining America. This small group has presided over the elimination of our Bill of Rights and the systematic dismantling of our freedoms guaranteed us under our Constitution. Our leaders have blown it. I ask you to join me in trying something that's never been attempted before in America. Let's put our parties and our differences aside one time. Be libertarian with me for one election. Together, we'll stop the spending and end the war. Together, we'll restore our industrial might and our economy. And if, in 4 years, we as a people decide we don't like peace, prosperity, and freedom, we can always vote tyranny back into office again. America is better and brighter than this. Be libertarian with me this one time, and I'll prove it to you. Live free.